Hey, this is Chris, and in this video I'm going to be talking about bonds and whether you should still own bonds or fixed interest in your portfolio even with interest rates as low as they are today. So first of all, the role of bonds in a portfolio, and I think this is something a lot of people make a mistake on. They think that bonds, the role of bonds is actually to generate income in your portfolio. Income is great, but actually the role of bonds is to help to protect your portfolio when share markets have a rough patch. 2020, the first quarter, was a fantastic example of this. Share markets around the world collapsed by somewhere like 35 to 50% in some areas, and bonds in those markets were able to hold their value and therefore cushion your overall portfolio. So while they didn't provide a lot of income in that period, they were able to protect your overall portfolio. Now, because interest rates have been falling in many developed markets for about 30 years, people, I think, are moving to what they think are safe alternatives to bonds that can generate a bit more income in their portfolio. And I think there's some big dangers of this. So some of the common alternatives to bonds that people use these days are things like unlisted property, unlisted infrastructure, and hybrids. And while all of these assets do provide better income than government bonds do, they are also a lot more risky. And so when share markets fall, these assets tend to fall in the same direction as shares and therefore not provide the same level of protection. For example, in 2020, unlisted property and unlisted infrastructure also fell by somewhere like 30 to 50%. So it didn't provide any protection at all. Now, there is one defensive asset we do recommend to clients to complement bonds in a portfolio, because with bonds now, in a world where interest rates are close to zero, there is probably limited ability to provide a cushion when markets fall from here. The one asset that may be able to provide a cushion, though, is gold. Now, gold tends to historically trade like a zero coupon bond, which means that it tends to move like bonds, but with the benefit of being able to protect against inflation as well as not have sovereign risk. Because even with bonds, there is some risk that the governments who have issued these bonds may not be able to pay them back. So for our clients, we recommend a mix of bonds and gold in your portfolio to provide protection. But keep in mind that these days, neither of them is going to be able to provide a lot of income. That's what other assets in your portfolio, like shares, are there to do. I'd love to hear how you use bonds and other defensive assets in your portfolio, so please comment below.